Columbus is done and my next event is in Chicago. So I'm going to head west through Indiana, then north. I visited two suburbs on the northern side of Indianapolis. I visited Noblesville, which is a bit dense. It's trying to keep the old town flair with their main street, doing events and so on. But there's just too many people. There's too many cars. I think they're going to start to lose that just by the number of people that are coming to live there. And the second suburb is Cicero. This is farther north. It is not dense at all. And in fact, the streets are so quiet, you see golf carts everywhere. I would say that both of these suburbs are very white, 90% plus. They're very conservative. There are American flags everywhere, not just on government buildings, no gay flags. If you want to raise a family, I don't think you're going to get a lot better than this in the United States, unless you want to live in a farm area. But if you want to live in a suburb that's still somewhat closer to office jobs and so on, these suburbs provide some kind of template. They're not perfect, but they're way better than many other suburbs that I have been to. Perhaps you can take your kids to the center of the suburbs and not have them see gay flags and weirdos that are crawling around. Though of course there is the opioid problem here, but it doesn't seem as severe as places that I've been to in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. So if I ever want to raise a family in the least amount of pause, Indiana seems to be not a bad choice. But there's not a lot of stuff to see here. It's basically flat land, a lot of farmland. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good to know that hey, there still exists a place in the United States where you can raise your family in a somewhat safe, pretty environment. So kudos to these suburbs. And now I go farther north. I just showed you the best parts of Fort Wayne, Indiana, the downtown. This is a rough place. It's a rough place. At night, there's a lot of sketchy people. When I'm driving, a lot of old cars, like really old, beat up cars. So it's a little bit more impoverished than the Indianapolis suburbs. So there's not much to really do here, so onward I go. I traveled to northern Indiana, to the city of South Bend. And the nice areas of this city are nice. It has a quaint Americana feel. But the bad areas, they possess a lot of vibrancy, and there's a lot of hair shops. People are loitering, blasting very ugly music from ugly cars. But you can easily avoid that. I didn't find a main street. Just the main street I was on just had a lot of old shops, but not the kind that you want to go to. I actually came to South Bend to visit Catholic intellectual giant E. Michael Jones. It was great to meet him, and I did an interview with him that you can see on my channel. I call it the Garden Interview. I also went to Catholic University, Notre Dame, and this university, I think, gives South Bend a lot of its charm, because I imagine without the university, the city would be in pretty big trouble. But the university was great. I can only imagine how it's like to study here for 4 years surrounded by monuments to God. I think the university should be a template to how our cities are built. Every other block should be a monument glorifying God in some way, but instead we don't have that anymore. Our cities hide God. And if you live in the cities, you're not going to find much of a sanctuary. I tried to visit the Basilica, but there was a service, and I thought it'd be a little bit disrespectful to crash the service to film, so I only got to see the outside. But otherwise, it was a good stop, and now I keep going. So I participate in the Orthodox fast, and I just showed you how I do that while traveling on the road. And the Orthodox in the Armenian church, we fast 160 days every year, and on a fasting day, you can't eat any meat products, any dairy, any eggs, any animal fats or oils, no product that comes from an animal that bleeds. So what that usually means on a fasting day, and this is actually a fasting week, Monday through Friday, it's the fast of the Transfiguration, which means mostly salads, a lot of bagels. Thank the Jews for the bagels, such a great portable bread unit that I can travel with. Hummus, nut butters, almond butters, peanut butters, peanuts, apples, and also hummus. And I'm limited because I don't have a kitchen. I can't cook, or else I could cook pasta and things such as that. So I need a cooler, and in the cooler I have my salad items, and I have a tote bag of things that don't need to be refrigerated. I travel with paper plates, plastic forks and spoons, olive oil, and it can be done. So if I can fast while on the road, and I've been doing it, and only a couple times I've gone out and I wondered if this soup had a bit of dairy in it. So this is why I don't like to go out to eat when I'm on the fast, because I can't guarantee what the ingredients are. I ate a salad last night, but it has croutons, and maybe croutons could have some milk. I mean, I don't get too obsessive about it, but I try to avoid those types of foods. So usually, unless you're cooking your own meals, the fast is going to be tough, because you have to go to places, examine their menu, their ingredients. You have to ask the server, can I have this salad without this, without that? And it becomes even harder than just doing it yourself. And lastly, I just want to say, why do we fast? At first I thought that we fast to kind of suffer a bit, to take on this sacrifice. But really, we don't have to suffer. Jesus Christ suffered for us. So really what it is to reduce your dependency on the physical, to reduce the excess that you have in life. Because a lot of people gain pleasure from eating. They're not too happy with their lives, and they eat to feel good. And when you fast, you can't really feel good on bagels. I mean, you can eat 100 of those, but you're not going to get the pleasure that you would from eating a burger or something that was more rich, cookies and so on. So really, we fast to not depend on the physical world as much, to only depend on God. Food is important, but it's not the most important. And fasting really teaches you that. And when you start to fast, when you start to reduce the pleasure, the satisfaction you get from food, it starts to reach into other parts of your life too, where, hey, why am I getting so much pleasure from this act or that act? You don't want to be receiving or seeking out pleasure in this world. Just wait for God to give you pleasure when He deems it fit for you. So that's why I fast, and I hope me showing you how, it takes time too. It takes time in my car to cut the tomato, but that's fine. So if I can do it on the road, hopefully you can do it too.
like this.
One side with pepperoni and the other side. I guess it's
I was driving into Chicago. The first thing I noticed is that gas immediately jumped to over 50 cents per gallon. In Indiana, it was about $2.69. And then here you can find gas stations that have it for $3.99 a gallon, the same exact gas. I think I knew what kind of city I was coming in when suddenly all the pro-life billboards I was seeing in Indiana was replaced by balding billboards and erectile dysfunction advertisements in Chicago. So people here, based on the advertisements, are vain and unable to sexually please their partners. So it was all downhill after that. I stayed in an area in the northern suburb of Gulf, which is near Skokie. Looks pretty close on the map as the bird flies 18 miles, but as the car drives in the Chicago traffic, an hour. It takes 1 hour to go from a suburb to the center. And this was the only city where I've noticed that there is dense traffic on both sides. Both directions at the same time has intense traffic. You're trapped. That's a good metaphor for this town. You're trapped in one of the neighborhoods. Even after midnight on Saturday, there was traffic backed up. Why would you want to live here? Now, I'll admit that my perspective is driven by getting around in car, since that's what I have. So if driving around isn't fun, then I can't possibly have fun either. But it's clear that there is way more people here than the city was designed for. This has 10 million people in the metro area. It was maybe designed for 4. So you have just like in New York City, it's the same kind of deal. People living like rats. They have to stay in the subway, stay in traffic to get to their jobs, to party in the downtown on the weekends. One thing about Chicago is that, last week I talked about how Columbus had a lot of bars to suit your micro identity. Chicago has a neighborhood for you. They have a neighborhood that suits your needs, your pleasures, your tattoo style, your fashion, and you will feel a tribal identification with the neighborhood. No, my neighborhood's better than yours. No, this neighborhood is better. So this is what Chicago has going for it. And if you really want to understand Chicago, it's a city of neighborhoods. You can't come here in a weekend. I mean, every neighborhood has a slightly different flair, which really means percentage of gay population and minority population that changes character. So that's what it comes down to. A lot of Chicago feels like a dense suburb that's just spread out. It's just one huge flat landmass of millions of people doing what? I don't know. But they're trying to live here. It's not just people who come to live here from other parts of the United States. I mean, these are people who were born and raised here, and generation after generation. A lot of people in Washington, D.C. are transplants, people who come from other places. What else can I say about Chicago? The pizza is better than New Haven pizza. So Chicago pizza is better. It's just, when America goes big, just let's put a lot of dough in the pizza and a lot of tomato sauce, so you're guaranteed to have heartburn after that. It was good. I didn't have to wait long. I didn't see a lot of gay flags. I was disappointed by that. I wanted to capture all the gay flags. I couldn't find them. I was told that there's an area of town called Boys Town that has a lot of gays. I on purpose did not go there. There's a limit to how much I can document for you. I'm not going to Boys Town, the gayest part of town. But other than that, the Chicago event went well. This is the 6th event in. I'm pretty tired. I'm ready to quit the tour, but there's 17 more cities that are left. I'm going to Minneapolis next, then Denver after that. and you want to join in, go to Roosh.live. Also, we got early bird tickets on sale for San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, Houston, Austin, and Dallas. So early bird tickets are on sale for a few more days if you want to get a few bucks off, and that is at Roosh.live. So the tour must go on. So yeah, let's keep going.